I wished to play in the band, and there was no high school band, and it provided free music lessons, a check which was quite scarce during the Depression, and I had fantasies about getting away from home.
Well, I joined to get my year over with because of the draft. I hadn't even registered for the draft, but I wanted to get my year over with.
We played in the town square every Wednesday night, which was our drill night. We would march from the old armory to the town square and play along the way, and all the kids would come and run and squeal. So we were sort of a combination of the Army National Guard and town band. We did not fire weapons, and technically in time of war we were supposed to be ancillary personnel for the medical company.
When the war was declared, we went to San Diego, and we spent about 3 months in San Diego guarding the consolidated aircraft. They broke out some of us and sent us to Fort Lewis, Washington, Camp Murray, and we organized a new company there, and it was the 3rd Battalion of the 37th Infantry, L Company, and we stayed there for 2 months, and then we boarded a ship at Seattle, and we went to Dutch Harbor.
They told us to unload the platoons, and had no idea where we were, and they marched us up to where some barracks had been built. When we got there was nothing in them. They said, sleep on the floor, use your blankets, and in the morning we'll get you material to put the beds together, and so on and so forth.
The first actual attack was by high-altitude bombers, and that was followed by strafers, who, of course, bombed the main camp.
I heard a noise that sounded exactly like what it was, a pom-pom gun, and it was a boom, 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 boom. I saw a trail of smoke. And I knew then that we were being attacked. I got my platoon all together, and I had what they call a guide who was the assistant platoon leader. He said, "Where shall I go?" I said, "How the hell do I know?" I said, "When we get outside, you take yours and go that way, and I'll take mine and go this way."
We were strafed, but we were all in foxholes and dug in. A few of us who had rifles fired, and of course the anti-aircraft crews were quite active.
The second wave of flames came over, and they bombed, and they hit the oil tanks that were on the island, which created huge fires. And they hit a couple of the barracks, which were unoccupied. They came back the second day, and they bombed again.
The day that the Japanese bombed Dutch Harbor, Thornborough was flying a mission because they had located some Japanese ships. He had flown a mission with a B-26 and had been carrying a torpedo. And he dropped the torpedo. Apparently it was not effective. But anyway, he came back and landed at Cole Bay. But he came back and loaded with bombs and went back out to try to find the ships. And he came back in. It was dark. It was night. But it was cloudy, no lights on the ground, and no radio aids to help him. They heard him fly over Call Bay and knew that he knew about where he was. But apparently he flew out north of the islands, trying to let down and flew into the water without ever seeing it.
We didn't hear about anybody getting hurt till the next day, and we of course saw the camp burning and knew there were bound to be some people there, particularly in the hospital, which was pretty much demolished. And we were instructed to go help with some of the cleanup.
We lost one kid at Dutch Harbor. I was possibly 100 feet from where he was, and a piece of shrapnel went right across his back and just severed his spine.
In memory of those gallant men whose lives were lost during the air raids at Dutch Harbor, June 3rd and 4th, 1942. Let those words stand as permanent salute to our shipmates. Let them stand simply as a tribute to Americans who held no price too high to pay for freedom. Their offering was the ultimate. Throughout the world today and for many days to come, will this scene be duplicated? Will there be dedications in memory of those gallant men? But let us be certain that these are not empty words, that we do not lose sight at the events which have occasioned this memorial. The American way of living, the American ideals, are very precious to us. And that quality which most we cherish is freedom. But we are inclined at times to permit our objective to become vague or obscured. We chafe, we are impatient, we grow restive because we are momentarily experiencing personal discomfort. Above all, we must ever remember that our ultimate goal warrants any personal sacrifice, every effort, even at the price of personal comfort, which we may put forth to achieve that goal. And that goal is freedom. The word has a profound meaning. Becomes almost a prayer. It belongs only to men, men of spirit, men of courage. From the dawn of liberty in 76 down to the present time, Americans have readily laid aside their tools of trade, forsworn the comforts of their family life to stand shoulder to shoulder against any aggressor who might challenge that liberty. Some of us paid dearly for that right to live as free men. The blood of courage has washed our land, enriching the soil in which the tree of liberty is rooted. To those who have offered their lives, our debt is great. We cannot repay them in any measure which will compensate for the effort they put forth. We can only ensure that our efforts in every way approach, in wholeheartedness, their endeavor. To that gallant, silent company of men who have gone before us, and those who have yet to go, we dedicate this memorial. It will weather many storms. It will stand strongly against the elements, firmly implanted in this American soil. A masthead of strength, a symbol of courage, crowned by the flag of freedom.